Martian travelers, and welcome back to the Mars Parlor. In today's nail video, we are going to be trying out some duck shape nails. So I have never done this shape before. I never thought that it would look good, at least on me, but I have been inspired today by Connie Nails on Instagram. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it, but these rhinestone French tips, the short sort of length with them, it just it caught my eye, and I really want to try to recreate it. It is going to be kind of different. I unfortunately do not have gold rhinestones yet, but I'm going to be using some silver and some colorful ones and trying to put a few tricks in there. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's just get right into it. Okay guys, welcome back to the parlor, and as I did mention, we are going to be trying the duck nails today, or a recent term I just found out about it is flare nails. I guess it's like a central sort of Jersey aesthetic when it comes to the nail industry, but of course it's all over the place. But yes, so I didn't really want to sculpt these nails, me using my non-dominant hand and everything, so I went ahead and used some oversized tips, and then just kind of, as you can see here, trimmed the sides to fit to my side walls. This way I can get that kind of natural flare, natural quote unquote, without too much trouble. And now I'm going to glue those tips on. Currently I've been using Model 1's nail glue, and it dries really fast and really securely, so I've just been in love with this for the time being. Now we're taking our tip cutters and we're going to go ahead and trim these pretty short. I actually ended up doing them shorter than I would have wanted. I didn't quite realize how much longer they were in the reference until afterward, but it's fine because I did still end up really enjoying wearing this set. I got them on right now still. But yeah, I just trimmed these all down the same length. So I've heard about those magnet things, and a friend of mine in cosmetology school was using them the other day. But to me, it's just easier to line up the cuticles and take it from there, because I feel like it still creates a difference if you do it with the magnets. But anyway, now I'm taking a 100-180 grit. I believe the brand name is Duckie. It is from Amazon. That's where I always order my stuff. But yeah, I'm just going around, of course, the sidewalls and then the free edge. The goal is to not shave off too much of that flare on the sidewalls. So I'm just making that line nice and straight without, kind of debulking. Alright, so I usually don't blend the tip into the natural nail with my acrylic sets. With gel and polygel, of course, it is a really important step because I have experienced that product just lifting straight up off the tip. But yeah, so here I wanted to go ahead and do the blending because, firstly, with these being short nails, I don't want that extra bump, because the goal is to keep them as thin as possible, as quote unquote natural looking as possible. And yeah, you just want to have that base as flat as possible to work with. Alright, so now we're all shaped and filed, and I have just wiped those with some alcohol. I'm going to be using this Chiara Sky color called I Do. It is the same kind of nudish pink I used on the Barbie set, on my other hand. But I'm just pouring out some No Lift Nails monomer. That's what I have right now, because it was the only thing I could get once upon a time in the beauty store close to me.
Okay, so when it comes to acrylic application, you want to take your first bead and place that near the free edge, and then this way it just makes it so much easier to focus on the thickness that you want at the tip of your nail, and then to build your way back towards the cuticle and get all of that just so much better. This, as opposed to starting at the cuticle, is the game changer for me, and it prevents having too high of an apex and everything like that. Now with this next bead, you want to place it sort of directly in the middle of that nail and blend it downwards towards your free edge yet again. And kind of the best key is to kind of keep it as wet as possible as you're working, because if it's too dry while you're blending, that's what's going to give you all those bumps and ridges, which is kind of what's happening here. A perfect example. So since these are so short, I ended up taking that middle bead back towards the cuticle, and it was just enough product for that very nice shape that we were going for. So I did end up, I think, going over that with another bead later on, because as you can see, there is a bit of a space between my cuticle and the product on that pinky nail still, and that is another one of the specific aspects that will make or break a professional set. With having a little more space on my ring finger here, I did end up using the 3 beads to get back towards the cuticle. And as you can see here, the best sort of thing to keep in mind is that the wetter that cuticle bead is, not, like sopping wet, of course, but workable, that is going to give you a nice cuticle, because you're not going to be able to blend that into all the nooks and crannies on your own, kind of like how I'm struggling here, because it was just still it dried a bit too fast. But when you work a little wetter, it just kind of pours itself into that shape that you need. But you have to remember to be holding your nail downwards, because gravity is what's going to help that go where it needs to be going. So whether I end up doing 2, 3, 4, or 5 beads to build the shape of the nail, I love to go over with that final bead to kind of level everything out to reduce the amount of filing I'll have to do. And in doing that, this bead should also be quite liquidy, quite easy to work with, because you want it to fill in all of the dips and cracks on that nail. So this nail is a perfect example of why it is best to look at the nail from all angles before you ever finish laying that acrylic, because there was like a whole gap on like the entire sidewall, cuticle, and all that I had missed with that acrylic. And if you're just looking at the nail straight on, you're going to miss things like that. So just be sure that you're moving it all around every which way and making sure that everything is in its place. I have, in my opinion, closely perfected the art of sculpting that nail and how much product to be using and all that, the thickness, I still very much struggle with getting product all over my cuticles. And that is like one of my goals for the near future, is to find some way with my application to be just a little more precise, is the good word for it. So here I am just going in with my Duckie file 100-180 grit, and what I like to do is go in on the free edges or sidewalls, what have you, first, just to crispen those up, and then I will go over top and again, you want to be looking at the nail from all angles so you can see if there's any bumps, any dips, and just making sure that everything is smooth and nice and thin as well. But as I was saying, what I like to do is take the 100 grit side, which I do believe is the wider teeth, and I go over the entire nail with that. Of course, you want to keep a good distance from the cuticle skin so you don't end up scratching that. But then I will flip it over and just go over everything with that finer grit and make everything look a little more defined. So when I started doing nails, it took me a while to get my hands on an e-file or a drill. So I got pretty good at manipulating that hand file and fully hand filing a set, which, I'm sure it's a common thing with nail techs, but yeah, I mean, sometimes I just don't feel like busting out the drill to go over the cuticle if I already think they look pretty darn good. So, and I hear that a lot of people struggle with kind of cutting up the cuticle skin with that file by just being down there too close to it. And yes, that can happen, and you should absolutely be careful, but there are ways to avoid that, of course. So I thought what would make or break these nails with this flare or duck shape would be what we are now calling the moon cut. This is, I feel like it added that extra something to the set, and that is kind of how she had it on the photo, the reference photo I showed y'all. But anyway, I was correct in assuming so, at least in my field of view, because these, I feel like if it would have had that like just flat top as per regular, it wouldn't have given the same effect for me. And I actually just took those off, but I kind of miss them. Like, I loved it, but it might have had a little something to do with the rhinestone French tip, which is coming right up. It's gonna be super cute. This is basically just, this is it. This is the nail art for this video. I suppose we'll call it a rhinestone placement video. But yeah, so that's how you sculpt some flare nails with tips. I just kind of winged it on that. I mean, I don't know if people typically sculpt them, but I was not in the mood to sculpt with my non-dominant hand, so this is where we are. Alright, so getting into the rhinestone placement, as you can see, I went ahead and put just a few little like red ones in there to kind of break up all the silver. At the end, I wondered if maybe I should have used all silver, but I did still love the aesthetic. I feel like it was kind of what I was going for. Maybe if I'd have done a few more red rhinestones, it would have popped a little more. But the thumb was my very favorite. You guys are going to see I put a nice chunky red rhinestone on that, and that just kind of set it off for me. But yeah, there's not too much to say about placement and whatnot when it comes to compacting rhinestones. It always looks better to do multiple sizes, and with this sort of vibe I was going for, I also wanted to do multiple shapes. So I'm just gonna let you guys enjoy the rhinestone placing process. I did almost forget to mention though that I am using and have been using for a good while now the McCart rhinestone glue. I picked it up from a few different other nail techs online and in person. It's just the best for me so far. Ever since I started using it, I've never had a rhinestone fall off. So that's just something to consider. So this became sort of a gradual, like a learning process, I suppose, with the rhinestone placement for myself, because I've done rhinestones, used them forever, but not a whole lot of like compact rhinestone designs. So when it came to these French tips, there was a certain look I was going for, and I think I really achieved it more on the pointer finger and thumb, and if you can tell, it's because I used a lot more chunky crystals. Like those first 3 nails look really pretty, like slay. Like I'm loving them. But I wish I would have used some chunkier stones here and there and made them kind of pop off the nail a little more. And it's that extravagant, like ridiculously extra look, that you're going for, putting all them diamonds on your nails. So that's kind of, just wanted to put in that little tidbit. If you can notice how I went from using like quite a few small stones and building my way up to a lot of larger ones, a lot more variety. I just wish I would have done that over the whole set, but still came out cute. Now y'all can see here what I'm talking about with this thumbnail, because I picked up like this, I don't know, like a little container full of a bunch of different colorful fake rhinestones, I guess you'd call them. They're kind of plasticky, but a lot of them were way too big. Like I underestimated how big they were and how many I'd actually be able to use for nails. But I went ahead and took the chance with this one on the thumb, and it fit very nicely, and it was just like the perfect little break in the silver. And yeah, that kind of led me to believe, I wish I would have done some maybe chunkier, but definitely red. Okie dokie. So now we have finished placing all of our rhinestones, and it's looking very extra, very bougie. We're loving it. And I'm going in with my trusty Beetles gel top coat. Normally I would put down my rhinestone glue and then brush the top coat over and then just go ahead and put them on top. That way you don't risk like smudging the shine of any of them with that gel or anything. But when it came to this specific design, it just kind of felt like it would do just that in this instance, because there are so many that I need to mess with and have in perfect place, and then gel does slip and slide a little bit with the self-leveling. So I just knew it would be practically impossible. It was already hard enough with just the rhinestone glue to keep everything into place long enough to get it in the lamp. So I went ahead and stayed the top coating for after, and I just carefully went on that nail bed, and I did kind of pull the product around the rhinestones where that smile line is. This was to provide a little more security for those edge rhinestones, as well as to make sure that there isn't like a dry acrylic gap there at all. You know, it's like it's better to just have a little bit of gel on those edges as opposed to an untop coated area. So now I decided afterwards I wanted to go in and put just one little tiny rhinestone on each of the cuticles, and that was the cherry on top for us. And then we have completed today's set. Okay, travelers, so that concludes today's duck nails rhinestone placement video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this one. I know it's a little bit on the simple side, but you know, on the second hand, if you haven't been able to tell, I am trying to make my videos more informational, nail educational in a way, so that, I don't know, because that's the way I enjoy watching my nail videos, or others' nail videos. Sometimes it's just not quite entertainment enough to just listen to the music and watch the nails. So I figured I'd do a little talking for y'all. But anyway, I do hope you enjoyed today's video. If you like duck nails, please leave a comment about it. And if you hate duck nails, please leave a comment about that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Safe travels back to Earth. Peace.